when we say to you, what do you choose? Do you choose a $100,000 increase in your income this year, or do you choose things being about the same? Well, I choose more. Well, if you choose 100,000, do you choose $1 million increase? A man sat in the hot seat last week and said he had just become one of the 1,000th wealthiest people in the world. And in 2008, he was addicted to drugs and had no prosperity at all. And through application of some things he is learning now, his prosperity is really flowing. Do you choose it? Do you want it? Would you like to have it? Is this something that you choose? What do you choose? Do you choose a lot? Do you choose a little? And what we've noticed about you is you choose what you expect to be able to deliver. You're not choosing what you want. You're choosing what you think you are capable under the current situation and based upon the standard that you've been living. You are evaluating what you think you might allow to come to yourself by what you have already allowed. And that is not the rationale that we are wanting you to choose. We want you to choose what you want. And then we want you to find thoughts that line you up with that wave that you've chosen. And it is our promise to you. This time-space reality will deliver to you the ride that you want. A lot of people are afraid to choose. They're afraid to choose because the waves have been beating them up. I chose. It didn't work out well for me. I got beat up. I got out there. I thought I was playing in a really big game. I went over there to Hawaii. It was the pipeline. The biggest wave in the world, and all it did was break my neck. It beat me up. And we say, choose the little waves at first until you show yourself. But there are no limits. Just choose it and line up with it and receive it. That's it. That's it. Nobody is holding you apart from anything but you and your own contradictory thoughts. Esther's epiphany. She said to her daughter and a friend and then another friend, I've finally figured it out. All I have to do. They laughed just like that. They did. All I have to do is decide what I want and talk myself into it. We have enjoyed this interaction immensely. That's everything, you know. Also, it occurred to her that as she is thinking about a future experience, meaning a not yet manifested experience, that those thoughts flow freely. Something about that future experience is free-flowing and therefore delicious to contemplate. But then when she found herself trying to bring it into the now before it was ready to reveal itself to her, so she was trying to figure out what to do, when to do it, and who to do it with, and how to go about it, she realized she was introducing resistance into her future idea. Now, in and of itself, that may not seem so interesting, but we want to explain to you why that is such an important thing for Esther or for you to understand. Everything is a vibrational reality first. And if you are taking pleasure in your vibrational realities, if that which is your future experience in terms of manifestation, but your current experience in terms of the thoughts that you are thinking, if it is pleasing to you, if it feels good to you, if you find yourself driving and wanting to think about it, if you find yourself lying in bed and wanting to think about it, if you find yourself just waking up and wanting to think about it, in that pure thought, there is so much power and so much orchestration is taking place. So Esther asked herself, why would I introduce into this moment, this clear moment where I've accessed the energy that creates worlds and I've focused it through my vessel and it's flowing outward for the creation of wonderful things that I desire? Why would I mess it up right now by getting ahead of myself? Why would I ask questions of myself to which I don't know the answers? And in doing so, introduce resistance to the equation. But you see, the reason that we're telling you this experience is for a different reason than you might be thinking. Because Esther's epiphany was not about the creation of that. It wasn't about the realization of that. It wasn't about the manifestation of that. It wasn't about the actualization of that. It wasn't about the demonstration of that. It was about the fact that thinking that thought in that way felt good right now, and introducing that thought to it right now made it not feel good anymore. Can you hear what we're getting at? It wasn't about what it was going to later on create. That's a given. What it's going to later on create is for sure, for sure, for sure. There is nothing that you cannot be or do or have if you want it and you talk yourself into it. We just want you to understand that you are the creator of your reality, but you are a thinker of it into being, not a doer of it into being. There'll be plenty of action that you'll be inspired to, but that's not the way you create. You create through the conscious flowing of thought. We've been writing books and processes, endless processes. There are more coming. endless processes. And all of them are designed to help you to improve your vibrational alignment with Source. That's what all of them are. All of them are designed to help you lower resistance and improve alignment or allowing. And even as the author of all of those processes, we want to say to you that if we were standing in your physical shoes, we would make a new commitment to ourselves to pay attention to how we feel when we wake up and do our best to sustain it just for a little while and watch the power of that momentum. We want you to care about whether to move forward with this or not. We want you to care about the emotion within it. We want you to be able to consciously and personally discern it, you see. Because by the time you ask somebody else, the moment is past. These rendezvous, they're junctures that are always opening for you. So it's like a series of paths constantly opening. And when you've been in a consistent vibration, the path just opens and 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 not only leads you pretty swiftly to where you want to be, but it's really a delightful journey on your way to where you want to be. And the same thing is happening with the paths that are opening to the things you don't want. And we just think it would be a really nice thing, and it's ridiculous for it to be any other way for you. We want you to know which path you're on, and we want you to know at the beginning of the path. We don't think you should have to get so far down the path with so much discomfort under your belt before you realize. So picture this. Did you get a sort of picture of that? The paths? So let's say you have enough momentum going that this path is lighting up. You're having a pretty good time, a good time, and it leads to things that when they manifest, you like them. Then there's this other path because you've been complaining and you've been worrying about that, and so this path lights up for you too. It's like the universe says, oh, you like that? Well, come this way, there's more of it. Oh, you like that? Well, come this way, there's more of it. Oh, you like that? Well, come this way, there's more of that. Oh, you like that? Well, come this way, there's more of that. Or the universe is also saying, oh, you don't like that? Well, come this way, there's more of that. Oh, you don't like that either? Well, come this way, there's more of that. Oh, you don't like that either? Well, come this way, there's more of that. Well, you don't like that? Well, come this way, there's more of that. At any point along these paths, oh, come this way, there's more of that, you can say, oh, wait a minute. I remember what high flying felt like. I remember that train of thought that I had that felt better. And you can be along that path, remember what that path felt like, and that path begins to turn and lead you back over to this path. It really is that way. With all kinds of converging, rendezvousing thoughts and people and comments and circumstances and events. So your question is a good one. And this is what we heard you say. Abraham, how far along my negative path do you think I should go before I decide to do something different? That's what we heard you say. And our answer is not that far. Not that far. Because there's a momentum. There's a momentum in the path. There's a momentum that will carry you until sometimes, and that's why we've been saying to our friends recently, when you realize that you're on that path and you don't have the presence of mind to do something about changing the direction of it, take a nap. Take a nap or meditate do something very different from what you're doing. But don't keep talking to that person in the way you're talking to them about the things that you're talking about. Don't continue whatever's going on, because it's just going to lead to more and more and more. Until you are deliberately reaching for sustained alignment and consciously acknowledging that you've got it going on, then often you just have to experience the results of the decisions that you make. In other words, we know that what you're saying is, how do I know in advance before I make the decision? We always say there are two ways to know what your state of alignment is. One is by the way you feel, and the other is by the way things are manifesting. So if you haven't accomplished it and you make a decision, and that's undoubtedly the reason that you're posing the question in the way that you are, everyone has outcomes that are less productive or less successful than they would like to have. And that's just one way of knowing that they made the decision and they took the action before they found alignment. What this discussion is all about is helping you to make sure that you find the alignment before you take the action. And so it isn't until you make the commitment to care about how you feel, and you do it with enough consistency that you know that you're there, that you can ever really begin to trust your own instincts. The best part about deliberate creating, everybody's creating because everybody's offering a vibration, and the world is responding to the vibration that they're offering, but most people are creating by default. In other words, they're just offering their vibration all over the place in response to what they're observing, and they're not offering any real deliberate control about it. But the best part about getting hold of this in the way that you all are here today, and deliberately focusing yourself on purpose, and then getting to see the results of that focus, that's the way you come to trust that this feels like that and this feels like that. You get to the place where you'll be moving along in a relationship, doesn't matter what kind of relationship, in a co-creation of some kind, and you will feel this feeling, and you will be able to say, oh, I relate this feeling to that outcome that happened before. Now we're really onto something. That sounds really simple, doesn't it? I remember I had this feeling before and it didn't turn out all that well. But what most people don't understand is that you can control the feeling right now. You think the feeling is in response to something, so you have no control. So instead of controlling the feeling, which is just a matter of controlling the thoughts, you set to control outcomes that you can't control. Make sense to you? Where if you really get it, that you can control the feeling, so when it starts to get a little off, bring it back, bring it back. Are you coming to realize that it's irrelevant what you care about? Well, it isn't irrelevant, but we have the advantage of the big picture. So we remember who you really are. We remember why you came. We know what this time-space reality is all about for you. We know the advantage that it is for you, and the advantage that you being here provides for all of us. We understand that you are leading-edge creators. You are the most thoughtful species in this physical environment, which means you are the most creative in this physical environment. And since you are the leading edge of that which is source, that makes you important to this expansive equation. So, you've been listening to us for a little while. So we've dragged you through a lot of things, haven't we? You create your own reality. You said, oh, yay. And then you said, oh, no. And then you went through that phase where you beat up on yourself because the reality you were creating sucked. And then we began talking to you about, with a stronger emphasis, that you are vibrational beings, which is hard for you to accept at first. It's easy to accept when you're thinking about clarity, but it's harder for you to accept when you're thinking about relationship, isn't it? In other words, clarity is something that you could achieve right now. In fact, don't you feel pretty clear right now just listening to us? We're just really excellent teachers. You do. You are feeling reasonable clarity as a result of this conversation. But if you were to focus upon something